KFRK in Denbon. Of course, you can get a hold of us online over there at JiggyJaguar.com. 50-plus AM FM stations across the country and around the world. We are live on Twitch today, and of course, we are also on JiggyJaguar.com. And if you missed our previous interview that we did with Sarah about the candies and the chocolates and all the fun stuff for Valentine's Day, check out our website at JiggyJaguar.com for more information. But we are going to go to our next guest here in just a few moments. Still to come on this broadcast, we have got another great guest, but of course, we have a fantastic guest that we are going to get to here in just a few seconds. So we've got our guest on the telephone. Go ahead and give me a brief introduction on yourself, my friend. Tell us a bit about yourself.
Hey, good to be here. My name is Dub Anderson. I'm from Atlanta, and I'm a novelist. I've got a new novel out called The Price of Perfect, which is about contemporary America and the struggles that we're having and been having in Atlanta with the racial issue. It's both hopefully an entertaining book, but also a learning experience where I've tried to give the main characters a balanced look at this troublesome and unending issue of race, possibly where it came from and what we can do about it. It's kind of a study I've done, an exploring I've done, trying to get both sides of this issue, this very, very complex issue, which seems to never go away. So that's kind of me and what I've got here.
Well, tell us a little bit about why you decided to write this incredible book, my friend.
I, like most of us, are worried about our country. I have never seen in all my years people so angry with each other. Everybody's truth is true, which is one of the other sides of diversity. We build a country around having everybody welcome. By the same token, that means everybody's opinion can be a true opinion. So it's become an issue.
Yes.
Truths are lies and lies are truths. But I wanted to explore the subject of race and maybe create a situation that would start conversation in a non-hostile kind of a way. But it's very frank. One of the problems we've been having about this issue is people just don't speak frankly. They're intimidated by it. And so we talk around it. We've become critics instead of critical thinkers.
Yes.
And I majored in the University of Georgia in communications and journalism. So I'm particularly interested in the words we use, the words the news media use, they don't use. News media has become a major player in the whole situation. So we've got a kind of a Tower of Babel we've created where everybody's yelling at each other and don't want to listen to what the other crowd has to say. So this is taken from a lot of experiences I've had in Atlanta over the years in working with minority groups and charities. And also being, somebody told me from the beginning, said, I'm warning you, you don't want to write this book. You're a white guy, buckhead in Atlanta. How are you going to know anything about the black experience? It's prompted me to, over the next several years, to really try to dig into what the black race has put up with for hundreds of years from us and the separation that we've now merged in, which is kind of tough to break through, where blacks feel like, some do, you can't say blacks feel. That's a mistake we're making. We clump everybody under the same opinions, and that's not true at all. All the races have different opinions. It's one mistake I've learned in this research is we categorize too easily. A few bad cops means that we defund all cops. A few young black men in Atlanta go on a tear, so all young black men are bad.
Yep.
It's really a lazy way to not even think through a problem, but just, oh, well, they're under that category, so that I don't even have to think about that anymore.
That is awesome. That is fantastic. We have got a great guest with us today. He joins us live here on the telephone. The Price of Perfect. It's a brand new novel. William Anderson is with us. He joins us live here on our big program. So, William, why is race basically need not to be the issue discussed with anger and division? Give me your thoughts on this, my friend.
The problem with communications, if you're not communicating, if both sides are not listening and trying to learn what is the opinion of the other side, there is a lot of, I don't want to know what you're saying. A lot of people get mad if they hear about what a countering opinion is. This whole thing of race based on color has been going on. Our situation started in the 1400s when Portugal went to Florida, to Africa, and determined that slaves were worth more money than gold. And about the same time, we started growing crops that required a lot of labor. It's interesting that a historical thing occurred which brought those two things together and available, if you wanted to enslave them, workforce and crops, tobacco and rice and cotton that required a lot of labor. So the thing about slavery is it's been going on as thousands of years. It's nothing new. We didn't invent it. What's so surprising is that Jefferson and some of these guys created the most unique country on the planet based on liberty for all, and yet they had slaves. I can't get my arms around that one. So that started the whole process. And we were pretty rough on that race. 4,000 were hanged over the years, which is staggering. The Civil War was over, and they had nothing. We had a tough Reconstruction, then Jim Crow laws. It's really gone on pretty much until around 1963 or 4, when civil rights laws were passed and things like that. So it's something that's relatively recent, but two of the barriers I found out was that a lot of black people feel like there's still racism going on in varying degrees, and white people who say, well, wait a minute, all that's over with, that's all in the past. Why can't you guys let go of the past? You keep reliving it. You want to be victims. You're victims of victimhood. We can't criticize you, or we're called racist. It's an unfair setup we've got going here. So, as I said, accusations fly like arrows everywhere. It's just not a compassionate listening going on. The fact that white people supposedly don't like black people, that's not true. It's just accusations that are out of hand. Again, as I said, we're critics. Well, critically think through these things. You don't take the time or the energy to determine, well, what are we doing that's still making people mad? Or blacks are not thinking, wait a minute, everything they do is not racist. You can't just drop that bomb every 5 minutes. So some basic things that are just not being identified, certainly not on a national level. Conversation does not make for good headlines. Conflict does. So that's kind of where we are from a media standpoint.
We have got a great guest with us today. William Anderson joins us. He's written an incredible book here, The Price of Perfect. It's a brand new novel. And he joins us today here on the telephone talking a little bit about this incredible, incredible book. So tell me a little bit about the concept of putting this book together. What was your writing process like?
As I said a minute ago, I realized if I was going to I wanted to write a balanced book about this racial issue, showing two basic sides. There are many sides to it, but two sides. I really did a lot of interviewing. I did a lot of reading from both races' viewpoints, and tried in my own mind, since I'm a writer who loves research, I enjoy the research of basically listening to both sides of this thing. And I realized this whole issue of what is true, whose truth is true, which sounds kind of silly, but that's kind of where we are. And I came up with the title, The Price of Perfect, because we're all paying a price because we all think our opinion is perfect. It's really a call for compromise. And again, a call for learning. So I tried to get around this pussyfooting around with soft talk and, I'm afraid I'll offend somebody. I didn't really care if I offended anybody or not, without being rude or disrespectful. But I wanted to have some main characters who were very frank in their opinions about what was going on. So the book is built around a developer in Atlanta who wants to build his dream building in Atlanta. He's got the whole city behind him. He's a white man, but a big supporter of black charities and colleges. And a black television station woman thinks that there's still racism everywhere, and she's looking for a hook. She can get more attention, and she finds out that a black man had been hanged on this property 80 years earlier, and the tree is still there. She tells the developer, you're going to have to rearrange this building and not cut this tree down. He said, you're crazy. He said, this building is one for the ages. So she says, well, if you don't cut it down, you're not going to honor all the blacks that have been hanged, and you're a racist. And I'm going to put it on social media. So the tree became a metaphor for America, where all the characters in the book had to take sides on where they stood on the issue. And a lot of it is about just how much does the past still rule our lives today? Is it the sins of the father? To what degree do we honor these sins? To what degree do we just pound away at them so the other side just starts to retreat and doesn't even want to talk about it anymore? So this whole thing of the past played a big part in what everybody was thinking or feeling.
We have got a great guest with us today. He joins us live here on our big broadcast. The Price of Perfect. It's a brand new novel. The author, William Anderson, joins us here on the telephone. So how we can move past thinking of our opinion is the only truth. We kind of talked a little bit about that earlier, but expand on that a little bit more there, Mr. Anderson.
The challenge is personal. To what degree do you want to say, well, okay, what I've stood for and I believe in, I'll move on that. I won't believe in that as strongly. And I know there are things that I believe that I just don't see how I can give on them. It doesn't have anything to do with race, but some other things like having young men play in women's sports. That's one that just stops me cold. Is an example of something I don't know how I can move on that. I guess I could in some way, but again, that's just my viewpoint without talking to anybody about it. So a part of this whole process, I really wish we could have a top-down discussion where the national leaders start talking about this issue, but the problem is people are afraid to talk about it frankly. As I said, wait a minute, you've offended me. This whole thing of being offended is a barrier to better understanding. You got to say, all right, say whatever you're going to say. I don't care what you're going to say. It's not going to make me mad. I know you're being sincere. That's what you truly believe. We could even have dinner parties where you invite people over for the house for supper. Say, why don't we have a little theme party tonight? Why don't we talk about something without getting mad to see? Let's just test our friendships and our wanting to understand with each other and have frank discussion about the racial issue and where we each stand on it. I don't think people are re-examining other than you almost cannot watch the news in Atlanta at 6 o'clock because all you see are young black men committing crimes. I've had friends say, well, we're the white criminals. there's probably more of them. I don't know why they don't show them, but if your source of information is just trying to bring you into one side of an issue, that's all you'll ever know. So we need to realize that some media, that's a business model, to have a particular viewpoint, and that's fine. But you also may reach out to other viewpoints. A lot of it's just based on our personally wanting to learn more, whatever the other side is. And there's plenty of white people that are truly behind the black situation, supporting it all they can. Again, we generalize too much. Off of a few instances, we blow it up to mean everybody. We need to be more circumspect about how we look at things like this.
We have got a great guest with us today. He joins us live here on our big program, The Price of Perfect. It's a brand new novel, and it comes from our guest today, William Anderson. He joins us here on the telephone talking a little bit about this incredible book. So talk to me a little bit, William, about why social and traditional media have failed us on the race debate.
Well, as I said, as America started to become more separated, the fabric frayed a little bit on the edges by these stronger opinions. I divide the camps, America, into two big tribes. One is traditional and the other is changers. The changers, which you could say include the woke crowd or more liberal, more left-wing people, that some of the changes they have been advocating are so strident to traditionalists that nobody can see where they want to land on this thing. And the media's picked up on this to some degree and realize, and they watch the ratings, of course, and they watch what shows are getting the ratings and the stronger opinionated hosts people running the shows are. And they see that's where if we want higher ratings and we need to appeal to certain groups. Now, this is true for print media too, it's true for movies, it's true for all media. It seems to be moving into one or two camps based on the number of listeners or eyeballs that they can capture. It's just a business decision. It's unfortunate, and I don't know if, I just wish, okay, to show the strong side that you're taking, but also have a portion of the news, like in the case of black people. I think that one reason for this racism is the word ambition. I think that the Europeans who came here originally, all hard workers, all very ambitious, all trying to get ahead. And of course, slaves started out at the bottom of the barrel. They never got a chance to really get ahead. When they did, a lot of them would get killed. So they didn't get a chance to move forward. And people would look at them, all those black people, they're all so poor. They're not out working. They're not out doing this and that. A lot of them have been pounded into the ground to the point they really couldn't. So if you look at, you can say there's a great unfairness about what's happened in our country. What do you do about it? And both sides need to do something. Black people need to, in my opinion, get a hold of this children born out of wedlock. And this is not a generalization because far and away, black people want the same thing white people do and are just as moral and good as any white person. But again, there's a certain number having children out of wedlock, out of no father in the home. I work on a scholarship here, so I see that. But we don't talk about that. You can't it's a one-sided communication that we're doing. And because everybody, again, is going to be offended, or you're just a racist. So we're our own worst enemies, and the media, of course, is watching all of this. In one respect, you can't blame them, but the only thing I wish they would do is realize that some media are a part of the issue, They do have to report the news, regardless of how good or bad it is. But give a more balanced, a fairer view. I'll tell you, it sounds strange, but one thing that's helped black people is be included in all these commercials. I've heard so many white people say, I've never seen so many black people in commercials. Well, that's probably the only time they've seen them being successful or out in the world being accomplished and ambitious. We are the product of the sources of information we get. Having them on more television shows. Bill Cosby did a great job of that years ago to leave them in the tank. But show success. If we're judging the entire race by a few people that are not doing so well, we need to quit just emphasizing that over and over. And all these young guys who are committing crimes, which they are doing in Atlanta and at other places, it's just the media needs to accept, hey, we're the voice that a lot of people are listening to. So what do we want to do with our voice? We just want to inflame people, or we want to try to make some peace out of this country.
We have got a great guest with us today. He joins us live here on our big program, The Price of Perfect. It's a brand new novel. It comes from our guest today, William Anderson. And William, before we let you go, how do we get in touch with you online or social media and buy your incredible book?
Well, you can buy the book from Amazon or Kindle. And in fact, in March, it was the #1 new release under Southern Literature, so it's doing pretty well. There's just no books like it. There are no novels that really approach this issue like I have. I've got a really good website on the book, WilliamAndersonWriter.com. And I'm pretty sure it gives my email address on there, but anybody would like to talk further about it, I'd love to hear from them.
Fantastic. Well, William, you are amazing. Thank you for making some time for us today. Thanks for coming on our big program and chatting with us, and I look forward to chatting with you more down the road. The book is called The Price of Perfect. It's a brand new novel. William Anderson has been our guest. William, you are amazing. Thanks for writing an incredible book here, my friend, and have yourself a blessed day, my friend.
Thank you, James, so much.
Appreciate it, my friend. There he goes. That's William Anderson. We're going to take a brief time out. And when we come back, we're going to wrap things up here on A World Famous Jiggy Jaguar radio program back here in New York.